Sunanda,
Uh-huh.
do you know what page we're on? Were you following along in your book?
I wasn't. I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Um, I the the marker seems to have fallen out of the books, so
Uh-oh.
I'm just going to start at random.
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it does either. But when Chied Brahmananda gets back, he'll be in order. Hmm? It's got nothing in it. I'm just going to start here. Hmm?
He had a funny bookmark that he was using.
It's not there. Excuse me, were you here last Saturday? Were you here last Saturday? I can't find the bookmark for that where Chied Brahmananda left off. So I'm going to, at random, start a new chapter. We've read it so many times, it's all familiar. So.
Right, right, right. So it was towards the end of his life, I know that, because he was not feeling well, and the doctor was trying to persuade him to do something.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if that's helpful. Doesn't matter, right?
I don't think it does. If anyone hasn't memorized, I'm apologizing in the beginning. Today we are going to read A Day at Dakshineshwar. Okay? Saturday, April 5th, 1884. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning when M arrived at the temple garden and found Sri Ramakrishna seated on the small couch in his room. A few devotees were sitting on the floor. The master was talking to them. Prankrishna Mukherjee was there. Prankrishna belonged to an aristocratic family and lived in the northern part of Calcutta. He held a high post in an English business firm. He was very much devoted to Sri Ramakrishna, and, though a householder, derived great pleasure from the study of Vedanta philosophy. He was a frequent visitor at the temple garden. Once he invited the master to his house in Calcutta and held a religious festival. Every day, early in the morning, he bathed in the holy water of the Ganga. Whether it was convenient, whenever it was convenient, he would come to Dakshineshwar in a hired country boat. That morning he had hired a boat and invited M to accompany him to Dakshineshwar. The boat had hardly left the shore when the river became choppy. M had become frightened and begged Prankrishna to put him back on land. In spite of assurances, M had kept saying, "You must put me ashore. I shall walk to Dakshineshwar." And so M came on foot and found Sri Ramakrishna talking to Prankrishna and the others. Master to Prankrishna: "But there is a greater manifestation of God in man. You may ask, how is it possible for God to be incarnated as a man who suffers from hunger, thirst, and the other traits of an embodied being, and perhaps also from disease and grief?" The reply is, even Brahman weeps, entrapped in the snare of the 5 elements. Don't you know how Rama had to weep, stricken with grief for Sita? Further, it is said that the Lord incarnated himself as a sow in order to kill the demon Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha was eventually killed, but God would not go back to his abode in heaven. He enjoyed his sow's life. He had given birth to several young ones and was rather happy with them. The gods said amongst themselves, "What does this mean? The Lord doesn't care to return to heaven." They all went to Shiva and laid the matter before him. Shiva came down and urged the Lord to leave the sow body and return to heaven. But the sow only suckled her young ones. All laughed. Then Shiva destroyed the sow body with his trident, and the Lord came out laughing aloud and went back to his own abode. I think the analogy there is we are all in the sow's body, not knowing who we are. Is it not? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'll get a little closer. Thank you for telling me that. Prankrishna to the master: "Sir, what is the anahata sound?" Master: "It is a spontaneous sound, constantly going on by itself. It is the sound of the pranava, Om. It originates in the Supreme Brahman and is heard by yogis. People immersed in worldliness do not hear it. A yogi alone knows that this sound originates both from his navel and from the Supreme Brahman resting on the ocean of milk." Now, I will read you a little footnote on what it means, resting on the ocean of milk. According to Hindu mythology, after the dissolution of the universe and before the next creation, the Supreme Lord rests on the ocean of the great cause, also called the ocean of milk. It's part of the cyclical reoccurrence of the yogas. Prankrishna: "Sir, what is the nature of life after death?" Master: Keshav Sen also asked that question. As long as a man remains ignorant, that is to say, as long as he has not realized God, so long will he be born. But after attaining knowledge, he will not have to come back to this earth or to any other plane of existence. The potter puts his pots in the sun to dry. Haven't you noticed that among them there are both baked and unbaked ones? When a cow happens to walk over them, doesn't happen much here, but some of the pots get broken into pieces. The broken pots that are already baked, the potter throws away since there's no more use to him. But the soft ones, though broken, he gathers up, he makes them into a lump, and out of this forms new pots. This is simplified, a very, very simple explanation of reincarnation. How we drop the body and get a new body and come back. In the same way, so long as a man has not realized God, he will have to come back to the potter's hand. That is, he will have to be born again and again. What is the use of sowing a boiled paddy grain? It will never bring forth a shoot. Likewise, if a man is boiled in the fire of knowledge, he will not be used for new creation. He is liberated. According to the Puranas, the Bhakta, the lovers of God, and Bhagavan, God, are two separate entities. I am one and you are another. The body is a plate, as it were, containing the water of mind, intelligence, and ego. Brahman is like the sun. It is reflected in the water. Therefore, the devotee sees the divine form. According to the Vedanta, Brahman alone is real and all else is Maya. Dreamlike and unsubstantial. The ego, like a stick, lies across the ocean of Satchitananda. Listen to what I'm saying. When this ego is taken away, there remains only one undivided ocean of Satchitananda. We've all seen that, haven't we? When something floating on the water and you take it away and it's totally gone. But as long as the stick of ego remains, there is an appearance of two. Here is one part of the water and there another part. Attaining the knowledge of Brahman, one is established in samadhi. Then the ego is effaced. But Shankaracharya retained the ego of knowledge in order to teach men. Okay, there's a long footnote here on what they are defining as the ego of knowledge. The ego, illumined and purified by the knowledge of God, following the method of discrimination, the jnani in samadhi merges his ego in Brahman. Thereafter, he may come down to the relative plane with an appearance of individuality, but even then he is always conscious of his identity with Brahman. This apparent ego is called the ego of knowledge. Now, jnani is the one who uses for discrimination to viveka, to realize God. A bhakta, following the path of love, realizes his eternal relationship with God. He too keeps an appearance of individuality on the relative plane. This ego has none of the characteristics of the worldly ego and is called the ego of devotion. The two egos here described refer to the same state of realization. This is an important thing because we can realize God through discriminating on the eternal, or we can realize God by loving our ideal of the eternal, or our ishta, a form of God. But there are signs that distinguish the man of knowledge. Some people think they have knowledge. What are the characteristics of knowledge? A jnani cannot injure anybody. He becomes like a child. If a steel sword touches the philosopher's stone, it is transformed into gold. Gold can never cut. It may seem from the outside that a jnani also has anger or egotism, but in reality he has no such thing. From a distance, a burnt string lying on the ground may look like a real one, but if you come near and blow at it, it disappears altogether. The anger and egotism of a jnani are mere appearances. They are not real. I know some people, when they have gurus and the guru gets angry and seems to be full of anger towards them, it's that thick, it's gone, the instant. There is no anger there, really. It's for people's own good in recognizing what they need to work on in this life. A child has no attachment. He makes a playhouse, and if anyone touches it, he will jump about and cry. The next moment, he himself will break it. We've seen this too, haven't we? This moment, he may be very attached to his cloth. He says, "My daddy has given it to me. I won't part with it." But the next moment, you can cajole him away from it with a toy. He will go away with you, leaving the cloth behind. These are the characteristics of a jnani. Perhaps he has many luxuries at home: couch, chairs, paintings, and equipage. But any day he may leave all these and go off to Benares. According to Vedanta, the waking state, too, is unreal. Once a woodcutter lay dreaming when someone woke him up. Greatly annoyed, he said, "Why have you disturbed my sleep? I was dreaming that I was a king and the father of 7 children. The princes were becoming well-versed in letters and military arts. I was secure in my throne and ruled over many subjects. Why have you demolished my world of joy?" "Fool," said the woodcutter, "you don't understand. My becoming a king in the dream was just as real as my being a woodcutter. If being a woodcutter is real, then being a king in a dream is also real." Krishna always talked about jnana. That is why the master described the state of the jnani. Now he proceeded to describe the state of the vijnani. Master, jnana is the realization of self through the process of neti, not this, not this. One goes into samadhi through the process of elimination and realizes the Atman. But vijnana means knowledge with a greater fullness. Some have heard of milk, some have seen milk, and some have drunk milk. He who is merely heard of milk is ignorant. He who has seen it is a jnani, but he who has drunk it is a vijnana, that is to say, a fuller knowledge of it. After having the vision of God, one talks to him as if he were an intimate relative. That is vijnana. First of all, you must discriminate, following the method of neti. He is not the 5 elements, nor the sense organs, nor the mind, nor the intelligence, nor the ego. He is beyond all these cosmic principles. You want to climb to the roof? Then you must eliminate and leave behind all the steps, one by one. The steps are by no means the roof. But after reaching the roof, you find that the steps are made of the same materials: brick, lime, and brick dust, as is the roof. It is the Supreme Brahman that has become the universe and its living beings and the 24 cosmic principles. That which is Atman has become the 5 elements. You may ask why the earth is so hard if it comes out of Atman. All is possible through the will of God. Don't you see that bone and flesh are made from blood and semen, and how hard sea foam becomes? I've never really known what they mean by sea foam, but they say it might be cuttlebone found on the seashore. I don't know. After attaining vijnana, one can live in the world as well. Then one clearly realizes that God himself has become the universe and all the living beings, that he is not outside the world. To Pran Krishna, the fact is that one must have the spiritual eye. You will develop that eye as soon as your mind becomes pure. Take, for instance, the Kumari Puja. I worshipped a virgin. The girl, to be sure, had all her human imperfections. Still, I regarded her as the Divine Mother herself. They do this Kumari Puja in India and Nepal, worshipping the Divine Mother as a very young girl. And girls from the towns and the villages are chosen to do that. They're very young. They're very pure, at a pure point in their life. So on one side is the wife, and on the other, the son. Love is bestowed on both, but in different ways. Therefore, it comes to this, that everything depends on the mind. The pure mind acquires a new attitude. Through that mind, one sees God in this world. Therefore, one needs spiritual discipline. Yes, spiritual discipline is necessary. You should know that a man becomes easily attached to a woman. A woman naturally loves a man, and a man also naturally loves a woman. Therefore, both fall speedily from their spiritual ideal. But it also must be said that there is a great advantage in leading the life of a householder. In case of urgent necessity, a man may live with his wife. Smiling. Well, M, why are you smiling? M was married. M to himself. The master makes this much allowance for householders since they cannot renounce everything. Is complete and absolute continence impossible for a householder? The Hatha yogi who had been living in the Panchavati entered the room. He was in the habit of taking milk and opium. He did not eat rice or other food and had no money to buy the milk and opium. The master had talked with him in the Panchavati. It's a group of 5 holy trees. The Hatha yogi had told Rakhal to ask the master to make some provisions for him, and Sri Ramakrishna had promised to speak about it to the visitors from Calcutta. Hatha yogi to the master, what did you say to Rakhal about me? Master, I said that I would ask some of the rich visitors to help you, but to Pran Krishna, you perhaps do not like these yogis. Pran Krishna remained silent. The Hatha yogi left the room and the conversation went on. Master to Pran Krishna and the others, if a man leads a householder's life, he must have unflagging devotion to truth. God can be realized through truth alone. Formerly, I was very particular about telling the truth, though now my zeal has abated a little. If I said I shall bathe, then I would get into the water of the Ganga, recite the mantra, and sprinkle a little water over my head. But still there would remain some doubt into me as to whether my bath was complete. Once I went to Ram's house in Calcutta. I happened to say, I shall not take any luchi. When I sat down to the meal, I was hungry, but I had said I would not eat the luchi, so I had to fill my stomach on sweets. All laughed. But my zeal for truthfulness has abated a little now. Once I said I would go to the pine grove, but then I felt I had no particular urge to go. What was to be done? I asked Ram about it. He was a priest at the Radhakanta temple. He said I didn't have to go. Then I reasoned to myself, well, everyone is Narayana, so Ram too is Narayana. Why shouldn't I listen to him? The elephant is Narayana, no doubt, but the Mahout is Narayana too. Then why shouldn't I obey him? Through reasoning like this, my zeal for truthfulness is slightly less strong now than before. I find a change coming over me. Years ago, Vaishnavacharan said to me, one attains perfect knowledge when one sees God in man. Now I see that it is God alone who is moving about in various forms, as a holy man, as a cheat, as a villain. Therefore I say, Narayana is in the guise of the sadhu, Narayana in the guise of the cheat, Narayana in the guise of the villain, Narayana in the guise of the lecher. Now my problem is how I can feed all of you. I want to feed everyone, so I keep one at a time with me and feed him. Prawn Krishna looking at him and smiling, a fine man indeed. To the master, he would not let us go till we put him ashore. Master smiling, why, what happened? Prawn Krishna, he was in our boat. Seeing that the river was slightly rough, he insisted on being put to shore. To M, how did you come? M smiling, on foot. Sri Ramakrishna laughed. Prawn Krishna, to the master, Sir, I am thinking now of giving up my work. One who is involved in activity cannot accomplish anything. Pointing to his companion, I'm training him to do my work. After I resign, he will relieve me. Work has become intolerable. Master, yes, work is very troublesome. It is now good for you to meditate on God for a few days in solitude. No doubt you will say that you would like to give up your work. Captain said the same thing. Worldly people talk that way, but they don't succeed in carrying out their intention. There are many pundits who speak words of wisdom, but they merely talk, they don't live up to them. They are like vultures that soar very high but keep their gaze fixed on the charnel pit. What I mean is that these pundits are attached to the world, to lust and greed. If I hear that pundits are practicing discrimination and dispassion, then I fear them. Otherwise, I look upon them as mere goats and dogs. Prawn Krishna saluted the master and took his leave. He said to M, will you come with us? M, no, sir. Catch me going with you again? Goodbye. I'm not getting back in that boat. M took a little stroll near the Panchavati and bathed in the river. Then he went to the temples of Radhakanta and Kali and prostrated himself before the images. He said to himself, I have heard that God has no form. Then why do I bow before these images? Is it because Sri Ramakrishna believes in gods and goddesses with form? I don't know anything about God, nor do I understand him. The master believes in images, then why shouldn't I, who am so insignificant a creature, accept them? M looked at the image of Kali. He saw that the Divine Mother holds in her two left hands a man's severed head and a sword. With her two right hands, she offers boons and reassurance to her devotees. In one aspect, she's terrible, and in another, she is the ever-affectionate mother of her devotees. The two ideals are harmonized in her. She is compassionate and affectionate to her devotees, to those who are submissive and helpless. It is also true that she is terrible, the consort of death. She alone knows why she assumes two aspects at the same time. M remembered this interpretation of Kali given by the master. He said to himself, I have heard that Keshav accepted Kali in Ramakrishna's presence. Is this, as Keshav used to say, the goddess, all spirit and consciousness, manifesting herself through a clay image? Keshav was the leader of the Brahmo Samaj, and they do not believe in images. So that was quite a thing when he believed Sri Ramakrishna. And I think we'll stop there. This was a little, we kind of leading into the part about the Kali images. Sunday, tomorrow, we will have part 2 of the Chandi, which is the hymn to the Divine Mother. It's going to be a video presentation here in the temple, an oratorio that Swami Atmavidyananda wrote and has sung, the story of the Chandi. He will give an explanation at the beginning. It's part 2. So we've seen part 1 and the first half of the Chandi. It's actually part 3, the third demon who gets killed. I found it really interesting, and the music was, I enjoyed it. You will see what happens. Okay.
Krishna,
Yeah?
you want to know what seafoam is?
Yes.
It normally goes by the German name Meerschaum. It's a soft, porous mineral they make pipes out of.
Oh, okay. Thank you, John. That's good to know. I've always wondered what it was. A soft, porous mineral.
It's called sepiolite. It's
Yeah.
actually a mineral. Usually mined in Turkey.
Which they find, I guess, on the seashore, on the shore. Yeah, it must be if it's sea foam. So this is what we will have tomorrow. Swami Atmavidyananda with the oratorio part 2. Next Wednesday, we're reading about Swami Niranjanananda. No, Swami Yogananda, his life. We have not completed his life in the book by Chaitanananda, God Lived with Them. Next Saturday, we'll have the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I'm afraid Swami Chidbrahmananda will not be here yet, so it'll probably be Vajraprana. Swami Chidbrahmananda is doing a retreat in Colorado this weekend, and next weekend he'll be giving a talk in Seattle, and then he'll be back. The 20th, next Saturday, is going to be Karma Yoga Day. Is it next Saturday? Yeah. It is. Next Saturday is Karma Yoga Day. We're getting ready for Durga Puja on the 27th. So we would encourage everyone to come if they can. We have lots of cleanup to do around the convent and around the garage area where we serve the food. Karma Yoga starts 9:15, goes to about noon, and then we have lunch. Everyone has lunch together at 1. Everyone is welcome to come. We like those. Lots of work to do. Okay, 27th, Durga Puja. Put that on your list. Puja starts around 11. Swami's either Sarvadevananda or our new Swami in Trabuco will be doing the puja. And the 30th is, you will find in this part of the oratorio this Sunday, we're going to be chanting. This is the most auspicious time of the whole of Durga Puja. 30th, Tuesday evening here in the temple, 5:42. It's very precise. 5:42 p.m. we start chanting all together Jai Sri Durga, and we chant until 6:30, and then we stop. And this is when Durga is overcoming the demon Mahishasura. And so we're all, victory, victory, Mother, victory. Okay. Any other questions or information that we have? Yep, get those written down. You can chant at home if you can't get here. It'll probably be on, well, I don't know whether it'll be on Zoom, but won't be on Zoom because there's nothing happening. But 5:42 to 6:30 if you can't make it to one of the temples. We all chant together. Okay. Any other question? Do you have a question? Okay. Good to see everyone who's here on Zoom, and in person. Okay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
I just didn't want to turn the light off on you in case you needed it. What? I just didn't want to turn the light off on you in case you needed it.